deepest ocean, high on the highest mountain, in the forest, in the desert, you can see God creation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another episode on the Aqeeda, or the creed, or the belief in the oneness of Allah. I remember in the last episode I mentioned that Jesus will be one of the signs, the major signs of the final hour. And you would wonder, what are the signs of the final hour? Well, there are minor signs and there are major signs. Minor signs, probably all of them have appeared. All of them have already appeared. The Prophet Muhammad, may Allah exalt his mention, among the minor signs of the final hour is that people would have, in other words, amongst them, liquor would be consumed in public. Nowadays, fornications will be prevalent, and many other evil things have already taken place. To begin with, the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah exalt his mention, said, "My birth and my death are among the signs of the final hour." You know, we're talking about 1400 years ago when the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah exalt his mention, came into existence. Because he said, "My birth and my death are among the signs of the final hour." But the major signs of the final hour have not yet appeared. One of them is that Allah Ta'ala would take knowledge out of men, not by extracting it from their chest or minds, rather by collecting scholars or people of knowledge to the point that only ignorant people will be left around, and they would appoint an ignorant scholar, ignorant, quote unquote, just to say scholar, by name only, and they will be asked, and they will give wrong answers. In other words, to send people astray, and they themselves would be deviating from the right path. This is one thing. So the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah exalt his mention, said, there will be a fire that will erupt from the midst of Yemen and will lead people to the assembly ground. This fire would lead people to the assembly grounds just before the final hour. And he said that there will appear Al-Mahdi. Al-Mahdi, that the Ahlul Sunnah, the Sunni Muslim, believe are not the one whose name whoever the Shiites believe in. Al-Mahdi of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the Prophet ﷺ said, his name is like my name. His father's name is like my father's name. In other words, Al-Mahdi's name, Muhammad ibn Abdullah. The others, the Shiites, believe that Muhammad al-Askari. And they believe that right now he is in the tunnel. We don't want to talk about this. This is something else. But we believe that Al-Mahdi, about whom the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah, talked, he will appear, and his appearance will be followed by the appearance of a Dajjal, pseudo-Christ, or the false Messiah. And the Prophet ﷺ said, when the believers are standing in line for Fajr prayer, and the Mahdi will be leading their prayer, or just about to lead their prayer, because Iqamah has already been called. When all of a sudden, when Jesus descends, leaning on two angels, his face as though still dripping, as though he just performed wudu, and he would land on earth. Then the Mahdi will step back in order to make room for the Jesus in order to lead Salah. But Jesus say, no, Iqamah is made for you. You know what? It's because Allah honors the Sunni Muslims, that only one of them would lead them in prayer. So Jesus would know his limit, and he would not lead Salah. He would stand behind Al-Mahdi. And soon after Fajr prayer is over, somebody would say, Ad-Dajjal appeared. And Jesus will turn, and he will keep looking at him, according to our Prophet Muhammad, may Allah exalt his bench, said that Ad-Dajjal, as long as Jesus would be focusing on the pseudo-Christ, although he was giant, he will shrink, become so little, and he will take off, will run in the direction of Palestine. Jesus will go after him until he catches him and the gate of Al-Lud. It's a town in Palestine. And he will spear him down and he will kill him. And he'll take his spear out for people to see the blood on that. And that will be the end of the pseudo-Christ. After that, it will be followed by Gog and Magog. And Allah will tell Jesus and the believers, I have sent out slaves of mine that you have no power to fight. The number is innumerable. Allah knows best how many of them, because they will cover the earth. They will cover the earth. And Allah will tell Jesus, hide in Mount Tur, you and the believers. And they would hide. They have there some oxen, some cows, and at that point, because there's nothing to eat, the prices will be outlandish for these animals. And they keep asking Allah, the believers, oh Allah, oh Allah, oh Allah, for them to be ridden of Gog and Magog. And Allah will send birds, huge birds. And Allah will cause some disease in the necks of Gog and Magog, and they will drop dead like one man. All of them, all of a sudden, they will drop dead. And there will be no room on earth to walk on. And Jesus would keep supplicating Allah, begging Allah to get rid of the carcasses of Gog and Magog, until Allah sends those huge birds, and they will pick them up and take them away wherever Allah wanted. Then the earth will rain to become shiny like silver. And afterwards, I'll be only the appearance of the very final hour, that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala would cause the gates of the heavens to close. Once they are closed, that means when a person raises his hands, oh Allah, I believe now, oh Allah, give me this, no answer. If a person did not believe prior to that, his belief would not avail him. In other words, that is the end. And the sun, now the sun rises from the east and sunset and sets in the west. But at that point, the sun will rise from the west. The Prophet Muhammad, may Allah exalt his mention, said, the sun every night, it comes and prostrates itself before the throne of Allah and seeks the permission of Allah to rise. And Allah, now of course, He keeps giving her permission to rise. But on that point, on that day, the sun will do the same thing, and Allah would command the sun to go back where it came from. It came from the west. So it will rise from the west. And that will be end. Afterwards, the first blow of the trumpet, well, all humankind, all creatures will drop dead. The second, when they rise, يوم يقوم الناس لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. They will rise before the Rabb of the worlds. And then, that day, we'll talk about it inshallah in the next episode. That day will be 50,000 year long. I'm talking about 50,000 year long. One day. It will be 50,000 year long, and the sun will be just 1 mile up. 1 mile up. You know what does that mean? Everybody will be sinking in his own perspiration, in his own sweat, each according to his deeds. Some of them will be sinking up to their ankles, some of them up to their knees, some of them up to their waists. And some, the sweat will be high to reach the mouth. They would have enough space, barely space enough for breathing. That will be for how long? 50,000 years. Brothers and sisters, when it gets hot here or in your country, wherever you're living, you just can't wait to go indoors. Or places where they have air conditioning. On the day of resurrection, no air conditioning, nothing. The sun will be 1 mile away. And even some scholars interpret that mile in Arabic, it is al-mail. Al-mail is the short stick that we put in eyeliner. You know that short stick that put it in the bottle where the eyeliner to that Allah knows best. Either this or 1 mile distance. We don't know. But we ask Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala that to show us mercy on that day. Inshallah, we'll be talking about this in details in the next episode, inshallah. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.